Welcome to another episode of the Mesmerise podcast. And today we have Jon from Beyond Salvation. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. Thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. Always like having guests with really good music as well. I got up at 5 a.m. this morning because there's clearly something wrong with me. And while I'm just faffing about on the computer, I decided, you know what? I'll give. I listened to the single before setting up the interview. Thought, you know what? I'll give everything a listen. So I had a listen for everything. It sounds great. It sounds absolutely brilliant. So funnily enough, I had a listen through. Not listen. Sorry. I had a look through your influences because I thought, I think I know who's going to pop up. I think I know. Let's have a look here. And you guys. Sepultura, I hear a lot of that. I hear a lot of Sepultura, Silosis, and Machine Head in your music.
They're the big ones, definitely. Yeah, Sepultura, because of I don't know, it's just nice and simple, but just done so well. And then I think me and Arun will both agree that Machine Head are our favourite band, especially when they do it well. And then Silosis, just fantastic, aren't they? So,
I mean, to be
there's
fair,
many others. But
to be fair, every band that you've mentioned on here is absolutely top-notch anyway. And to be honest, I've been listening to a lot more of these bands since lockdown, especially Silosis, because I've seen them live twice. But I never quite paid much attention to them. Now I'm like surrounded by it. I've actually been trying to up my playing game a little bit because I'm mainly a singer, but recently decided, I'm going to sing and play at the same time. It's like certain things like, I'm not that good. I need to boost myself up. And someone mentioned to me to check out Josh Middleton's like guitar videos. I'm like, oh fuck, they're actually really good.
Oh yeah, he's insane. I mean, to be honest, with Silosis, I mean, we've practiced on and off a bit when we can over this lockdown period. Obviously, there was months when we couldn't, and then we got back in a bit. But I haven't done any singing, so when things get back to normal, it'll be interesting to see if I can remember how to scream and play guitar at the same time. Hopefully, it'll be like riding a bike.
Lots of coughing involved.
Yeah. But obviously not COVID coughing, just
normal coughing.
Warming up the old gutturals again. But yeah, Silosis for me, they're the band that sort of got me back into playing when I found them around the Edge of the Earth time. It just completely reinvigorated my love and passion for metal because I just felt I hadn't found any bands for a while that would become like a favourite band again, if that makes sense. You know, yeah, like the Sepultura and Machine Heads from eons ago, and so yeah, Silosis just opened up a whole new world, and then I started taking guitar lessons because I was like, I listen to so much metal, but I don't play any metal. I was just playing like Foo Fighters stuff and what have you at that point. So you're a very important band. Fantastic.
It's quite surprising because I've seen them live a few times now. I think I saw them open for Dragon Force and Sabaton. I've seen them. Oh God. I think I saw them open for Motionless in White at one point. And I saw them quite recently open for Trivium when they were doing the live, like the stream gig that they did. And that was fantastic. So tight. One thing that I found really surprising, I think one thing that I've done picking-wise is I kept thinking I'm doing picking wrong. It's just I didn't practice. But the main thing that I found quite interesting is I've tried to alternate pick as much as I could. But then after watching Josh's videos, it's like, yeah, but you're never going to be as tight as when you like down pick. Like down pick, you're just going to be so tight. I think there's some Sepultura I tried to play before. Bollocks, I'm trying to remember what song now. Anyway, it's one where it's like a lot of so I've tried alternate picking because I'm like, it's more economical doing it that way. And I'm like, this isn't as fun, and like, this is a bit shit. Now I'm just down picking. I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is great. I feel like James Hetfield, just proper.
Yeah, it's all about the Hetfield, isn't it? Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, because when our drummer decides to play songs a little bit too quick, we can tell when it gets to a down picking part of the song, and then your hands just melting off, and you're like, Sim, come on, slow it down a bit. But yeah, can't beat a good chug. I mean, I just like Arun do all the twiddly diddly fancy lead stuff, and I just like playing the riffs, so it works out all right for us.
Exactly. One thing that I found quite interesting that I've noticed is you guys don't have a bassist, do you? It's guitar, two guitarists, and a drummer. Is that right?
Yeah, well, we don't at the moment. So
Okay.
we parted ways with our bass player a couple of months ago, and we've got a couple of people learning some songs at the moment. And yeah, just waiting for all these, like with a lot of things in life, all this sort of lockdown and tier systems to be a bit more free and easy, so we can get a couple of the new guys in and play some tunes in the practice room and see what gels. So it's quite exciting, really, because it should gear us up quite nicely for the hopefully the better year, which is 2021, and
Yeah.
get gigging again and all that. But yeah, we're not like we're not. We just thought it'd be better to put ourselves out there as us three that are putting this music out as
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and just yeah, take it on and find someone new. Hopefully, back end of this year, something beginning of next year. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, that's really awesome because we found ourselves, my band found ourselves in a quite a similar situation, but we've managed to get new members into the band. And I think the last gig that we did, we said to the guitarist there and then, like, all right, you're in, like you're a permanent member. And then we haven't played a gig since. We've not rehearsed since or anything. So it's like, shit, we're supposed to rehearse 3 days after lockdown happened again, which is
Oh no.
irritating because it's like photo shoots. It's photo shoots are the bane of my life because with the previous members we weren't able to do photo shoots because all sorts of reasons. This time I was like, yeah, we want to do shoots. We want to do all these shoots. It's like, nah, someone's coughed. Got to lock everything down. Bollocks. So we don't have any new photos of us in any capacity. It's like, fuck, I just want some photos. So get some bloody photos. But no. But you guys have that sort of exciting part still where it's like, oh, we got all these people to try out. We've got we've got more on the casting base. Unless you've got a casting couch, but I think that's a different industry altogether.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's at the moment it's exciting. Like obviously when you don't have anyone getting in touch or it's just a void of people wanting to play bass, it's a bit annoying. But like I said, we're in touch with a couple of guys, both sound lads. So yeah, as it stands now, it's more exciting than anything. Just frustrating, really. As well, I mean, it's not the worst thing in life. There's obviously more annoying things the virus is impacting on than just playing thrash metal, but obviously it is enjoyable. So yeah, it'd be good to get back in the room and see how things work out. Yeah, exciting.
Yeah,
So
no, that's good. I mean, end of the day, you got to get excited about something. And to be honest, it's the good tunes. And to be honest, I am seriously looking forward to actually seeing you guys live at some point because our big thing at the moment is very much we want to play all around the UK because we've been in the same county the entire time. So it's like I want to play. I want to play out. I want to
yeah, so
go
sounding
Midlands
ignorant.
upwards.
Whereabouts are you guys based?
Essex.
Oh, okay, right. So we'll just have to do a swap and share. Won't we? You get us a gig down there, and we'll get you a gig up here, and then
Definitely. I mean, we definitely have our sights on London, so I mean, I think everyone does, to be fair. But we do like a lot of industrial metal stuff, so club scene. Anyway, but yes, Beyond Salvation. So, where did the name come from?
Sim came up with that, our drummer, and they came up with it just before I joined. So unfortunately, there isn't some interesting, deep conversation behind that. I think he just came up with it and they thought it sounded cool. And then I hate coming up with band names, so when I joined, I think they'd only done one gig at that point. And then I was like, "Have you got a band name?" they were like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's fine. Saves me trying to think of one. I don't think I've ever come up with a decent band name for any band I've ever been in. So, yeah, Simeon, our drummer, came up with that. And there's not much else behind the story. No deep meaning. That's it.
Okay, so how did you come to joining the band exactly in that regard?
They had a different singer at the time. There was four of them, so we got started by Martin and Sim, and then Carl, who was on bass, and then Matt, the singer. And I think they put an advert in Join My Band or the local paper, and it was just like, do you like Slayer and Silosis and want to play his guitar? And I was like, yes, I do. I am supposed to be getting married in about 2 months' time. But I've been taking these guitar lessons for purely off Silosis as well, like I mentioned earlier. So, yeah, met up with the guys, and then it all sort of clicked. I mean, that's like 5 or 6 years ago now. And then, as things change, people's priorities differ, different lineups come and go. And then, we are as we are at the moment. Rune joined 3 years ago. And, it's been good. It's been fun.
Good. So Aaron has essentially done the backwards thing where he plays bass and then becomes the lead guitarist, rather than being the failed rhythm guitarist and playing bass.
I suppose that's one way of putting it. But I mean, I know he's played. I think he's played guitar in more bands than he's played bass. But I think because I don't know if you're referring to that stint he did with Colobus, because he started that just around the same time he started with us.
Okay.
So I think he was in like 5 bands or something stupid at that time. I can barely juggle one. So but he's an incredible guitarist. Like, he's very, very inspiring and possibly quite annoying at the same time when I can see what he rips out. But great, perfect. He's a lot better than me, so we both write. But if I come up with some stuff, pass it over to him, and he can just add that little bit of extra spice. And then I need a solo here, please, mate. And then he just pulls one out of thin air, and it's works a charm. I can't solo for shit. It's
I feel your pain. I think the best solo I can do is "Don't Stop" by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that's it. I don't think that's particularly noteworthy in the metal community.
I can't even play the solos I did write for our own songs anymore. It's been that long. I just pass them over to him now. So I just stick to the low E and chug away.
I mean, you get to sing and play, so you get that moment. You get those moments to shine while he gets the whittly 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 wah moments.
Yeah.
So
I get enough spotlight moments. I might as well give him some of the action as well, aren't there? So it all balances out quite nicely.
It's a bit irritating. It's frustrating, isn't it? Like when you're the rhythm guitarist and you've got another guitarist in the band, and they're just like running circles. You're like, fuck. I need to get better. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's. I don't know. I think those people that shit hot like a room, they just put a bit more practice in when they were younger, because I don't know, these days with a family and a job, I don't know, you just don't get the same amount of time to actually like practice. So if I get a bit of time for guitar, I just want to try and write new stuff. That's usually what happens. I'll pick the guitar up when I get a chance. Then, there's a new riff, and away we go with that. So I should be practicing, but I don't. So naughty. But that doesn't matter, does it? Like,
no.
Don't need 2 people shredding away. Got one that can do it, so that's fine.
Exactly. I mean, can't show them up everywhere. So, so what? So how did you come to do the type of vocals that you do? Like, how did that sort of get started?
So Matt, the old singer, we parted ways with him, and then it was more just I'd sung in like more rocky type bands where I was trying to just like sing. So I sort of knew how to project my voice a bit, and then Martin would just be like, "No, just make it screamier," and then it was just the opposite of what we're doing on the bass player front, just saving us trying to find someone else. I gave it a go and it sort of worked all right. And yeah, there's 4 people to juggle in the band rather than 5. That was sort of the necessity, really. Just made it a bit easier.
Mm.
And then I don't know, a lot of all my favourite bands are 4-piece with a singer. Metallica, Machine Head, Sepultura, Slayer, Sylosis. I don't know. I think there's something really fucking cool about it when, the lead singer's got a guitar. It's personal preference. So yeah, it just sort of carried on that way, really. I didn't want to do it. I'd actually just like join in the band and just enjoy playing guitar. And especially these last few months while it's been not been singing, because we've just been writing stuff when we've been in the room, or COVID stuff, like I'll just keep the mask on rather than possibly spreading anything. So it's just been fun just playing guitar and just enjoying the music. But at the same time, it is a buzz trying to be like a shit Rob Flynn when we play live or something. So yeah.
So just trying to fit in. It's like you're just playing, you're singing, like, okay, where can I fit in a headbang motherfucker in this song?
Yeah, pretty much.
Shit.
Yeah.
No, I totally understand that. I mean, I've not been able to play guitar live and sing. I'm dreading it, but it's going to be awesome. In that regard, what I did actually really like from what I've heard from the recordings is you have your voice has a very nice rasp. Yeah, it has a very nice rasp to it, which is very, like in recordings, it's so nice, sort of like pulling that out. If that makes sense,
Cool.
like it just has a very nice, like,
again, it's just sort of default. It's the only way I can really scream and stuff. I suppose, I don't know if I could turn anything on. I don't know. It's one of them, I listen to a lot of like deathcore and death metal, what's when the vocals are really unrecognisable in terms of wording, I suppose. But, I mean, for me, I think I can tell what I say, but that's probably because I know all the words.
it's not as intelligible as black metal is, where it's just, oh, let's record this with a potato gun, sorted.
And then chuck it in a dustbin and just for top measure, yeah. So I don't know, yeah. It's just kind of how it is, really. And then like Arun reminded me as well. So one of our good mates, and he puts on a lot of top gigs around Manchester, called John Badger. Puts on Badger Fest.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I work with him just to give myself a little plug. I do all the artwork for him and the posters and stuff.
Oh,
so,
they're looking good.
Cheers, bud. I didn't design the logo; that was by someone else. But I do all the posters and help him out and stuff like that. So, yeah. So he described us as, I think a few people have said it like hardcore thrash, which is funny because none of us listen to hardcore, but I think Badger put it down to like my vocal delivery or my vocal sound being a bit more hardcore and not just, I don't know, the current metal sound without dwelling on it.
That makes sense.
Much.
I can see that. Now that you mentioned it, I can see that. So as Jamie Jaster would say, that's hard.
Yeah, because I had a few people, I've had like once or twice say Jamie from Hatebreed, which again was like, oh, that's weird because I never really listened to them. I know where they are, the odd tune, but yeah, it's just, like I said, can't do it any other way. It's just the way I sound. But appreciate the kind words all the same, mate.
No problem at all. Don't you find it bizarre? It's nice. It's complimentary. It's lovely when you hear like compliments about vocals, about your playing, especially live. Because I think that's definitely a different beast from recording. But then you find it bizarre sometimes what some people will come out with some examples, like, oh, you sound like this, or you sound like that. You're like, I can see it, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised about that name drop.
Yeah. Well, we had a really, really kind review from the guys in the 0161 stuff community that put on the Facebook page and put on some great gigs and support all the scene round our way. But the review said Chimera is a big influence on us, and I've never really I know who they are. Never really listened to them. I know enough. And then I sort of like when they said it, I was like, oh yeah. Especially some of the bits in the newer song, I can see where they're coming from. But yeah, it is. I suppose it depends who people pick up on, doesn't it? Because it's like it all sort of stems, I suppose, initially from Black Sabbath, doesn't it? So
Oh yeah.
It's how far and who you break it into because of like our drummer, his biggest influences would be like Chris Adler from Lamb of God and Joey Jordison from Slipknot, and then Silosis again. I think Silosis is the one band we all agree on. So yeah, it is interesting when people drop that, and then obviously sometimes it's just a nice compliment. Sometimes you don't know how to take it, but I don't know. As long as they don't say you sound like Ghost, it's all right, isn't it? So.
They say I like Ghost, but to be fair, not everything can be everyone's cup of tea. Simple as.
Well, yeah, that is. It would be boring if everyone liked the same thing. And actually, I don't mind Ghost. Well, I really like. It is a weird one. That first album was an album.
You don't have to backtrack. It's perfectly
No,
fine.
no,
If you
no.
don't like them, it's perfectly all right.
No, I've actually even got a post up there. But like I said, the visuals were amazing, and that first album, I really enjoyed having a shower to that first album when it was out. So there's a nice bit of imagery for you all. But yeah, so yeah.
Think of John Naked. Hashtag John Naked, and that'll be on your next merch line. Hashtag Think of John Naked.
Yeah, I put it on the back of a t-shirt. I'll get it sorted.
No, the front, mate. The front. Represent.
Oh, well.
But yeah, no, Ghost are a funny one. They're a very Marmite band. One thing I will say is I love the visuals, same as yourself. Visuals are fantastic. Songs, hit and miss for me. But then again, I'm not... He's very Doors influenced. Like, when you start listening to his stuff and think of the Doors, you're like, oh shit, I can hear that. I can hear this so much. I can't unhear this anymore.
Yeah, no, it is a weird one. I don't know. There's a meme going around in it where it's like Ghost expectations, and it's like, I don't know, the Batmobile at the Dark Knight Rises, and then reality, it's like, I don't know, a Lego Batmobile or something. It just don't sound like they look. I mean, to be honest, yeah, they all dress up in like outfits and stuff. It's cool. I just always like the actual designs and the merch side of things.
Oh, yeah.
It's just great. But it just proves like a good image can get you quite a good way. And there's no denying the good songs. I just feel, and people are probably just jealous because they've actually got quite big. So the keyboard warriors come out then, don't they? But yeah, they're just.
We've
not.
Nah, sorry, I'll let you finish, mate.
No, I'm going to say, just at the end of the day, if I'm going to listen to some music, they're all right, but I prefer to listen to, I don't know, Thy Art Is Murder or Slayer or Silosis, that's my sort of bag, so yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Music is so subjective, so you're not going to like everything everyone puts out and vice versa, which is, that's perfectly fine and that's all right. The one thing that I will admit, the one thing that bothers me a lot is when people openly go on social media to like full on bash a band. I saw something the other day about I can't remember what band it was now, but it's like, oh, I've listened to that song, it's really shit. I listened to it, I'm like, no, it's good. You just don't like that kind of music, it's fine. But it's not shit. There's enough people that listen to it for it to not be shit. I don't like Coldplay. I think some of their songs are catchy as fuck. I don't like Coldplay, but I wouldn't go around saying they're a shit band.
No, that's fair. But I mean, it just stems back to what you get told. If you've not got anything nice to say, don't say it at all, I suppose.
That is something that we need to go back to, really.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone's hiding behind a computer screen and can thrash away. And weirdly, when that whole sort of like hardcore thrash thing, bringing it back to us a bit, there was a YouTube channel that put our Scarbearer EP out, and like way bigger like audience than we'd have by ourselves, and then but they were like what they called like the thrash catalogue or something like that. So there's obviously a lot of just that proper thrash where I don't really think we're just true thrash, if that makes sense. Yeah. So anyone that subscribes to that channel is obviously just expecting like Exodus Part 2 or the next Megadeth rip-off band. And so there was, you could tell like people were like, the comments were like, oh yeah, this is really cool, but then people were like, yes, it's good, but it's not thrash metal, hardcore at best. And then but it was really quite entertaining to like read through the comments, because of it's, especially as you're starting out, and we're not that big, but usually the first few people that will hear your music are just your mates, so you're probably just going to get nice comments, and then it's you're playing within your peers of bands which are probably going to be of a similar genre, or you know them and you're just getting along. So it's that sort of jump that a band will take when it really goes out into the public, and then you do start getting the trolls and the haters, but then also the genuine people that genuinely like you for your music, not because they maybe played a gig with you twice 2 years ago or something. So yeah, I found that really quite entertaining, sort of reading the hating comments that we weren't, especially the ones that really go into it, describing why it's not thrash metal, but then be like, oh, but I quite like it, but blah blah blah. So yeah, I don't know. You just got to take it with a pinch of salt. As long as no one's being like mean or hateful or, you know, stepping outside obvious boundaries, then it's, I suppose, just take it as a good laugh.
Exactly. I mean, and end of the day, as we said, music is subjective, etc., etc. That's the entire argument of it, really. If you want to spend the time to shit on a band, you kind of need to reevaluate, really, at that point. I think Ghost gets a lot of shit. I think they get a lot of shit for the fact that they look like a black metal band, but sound like, well, like a hard rock band. Well, kind of hard rock, I guess, like a classic rock band in a lot of points.
Although I've seen everyone saying that like ABBA with distorted guitars. I think that's that Raised by Owls that started that one off.
I think that's a fair one, and I think Tobias probably would just giggle at that. I don't think that's something that would get to him too much.
I'm sure he's absolutely fine, sat on all his merch royalties, and he's doing what he wants to do. For, you know, there's not many people that can generally do their hobby as their career, is it?
Exactly.
So I'm sure he's absolutely fine. But weirdly, about staying positive, because there's like, I love all the end of lists about the you know, the best albums of the year and X, Y, and Z, and there's been so much. Well, I know it's a bit of a bittersweet, really, isn't it? Because there's been so many good albums this year, but theoretically, all those albums that I've enjoyed this year, I would have then got to see play live, and the bands might have got bigger and had more funds, but obviously they've not been able to because of COVID. But at the same time, when I was looking over my list of all these albums I was expecting, and I won't go into it because I was thinking there was a lot of albums I was really looking forward to that I was then really disappointed with. So I could make a list of albums that weren't up to what I was hoping for, but then what's the point? It's just a waste of energy, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's better finding the new bands that you didn't know existed. So yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of the big bands, they can't constantly bring out bangers. It just doesn't. It just doesn't happen. There's going to be one or... Sorry?
Unless you're Silosis.
That's true. But then again, I think they have a very particular niche listener base within reason. I don't think Karen, 45 with 3 kids, listens to Silosis. But
possibly not.
With that, I did want to actually ask you, because we are coming to the end of the year, I blinked and it's gone, which is actually horrifying in itself. But what were the top 3 records that have come out this year for you? Three albums you record that you really enjoyed.
There's many, but Silosis, Trivium's new album, and then probably if I had to pick one, I'd go for Ingested's new album. But also, I don't know, that Viscera album, that was like a new band, you know, Jamie that used to be in Silosis. That's his new sort of like death metal band. That's amazing. And then I really enjoy that latest Ulcerate album. That's just like weird and intense. But yeah, it's great. I can bang on, mate. There's so many. But yeah, I'd probably pick Silosis, Trivium, and Ingested.
Okay. I did, to be honest, what the Dead Men Say was a great record. I actually own it on vinyl. That's how much I liked it. Like, I don't buy physical records that much anymore. But when I do, I get it on vinyl, and my God, it's so good. Such a good record. I think it's got a lot more variety than the previous ones did. Like, I think
Oh,
the
it's my
songs are
favourite
very
thing
different.
they've done. Like up until that, I've always followed them. And again, they've taken a few dodgy missteps here and there, but I think if I had to, but yeah, this is my favourite album. Like, if there's only one song on it that I'm a bit iffy about, all the rest I think are absolutely fantastic. Um, and then other than that, it was just like there'd be maybe a handful of songs off each album that I thought were great, but
Yeah.
I could sort of leave the rest of the album if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
maybe Shogun, I could have that solid all the way through, but like even Ascendancy, I feel like the Pull Harder on the Strings of Martyr and Rain and a couple of others are great, but then the rest of the album, I still looking back in retrospect, I think's a bit mediocre. But yeah, this new one, belting.
Okay, so yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, with personally with Trivium, I think this new record has rejuvenated my interest in them. I think the last album that I really liked was In Waves, which I
Yeah,
find
yeah,
hilarious because I know Matt detests how long it took to get like the guitar sounds. Like, I think they spent literally 2 weeks just going through guitar tones. He's like, "Oh, I didn't like that." I'm like, "But that's your best tone. This is like." Like just production wise is my favorite record,
Well,
but
it's Colin Richardson, that isn't it? And
yeah,
I very, very quickly met Colin Richardson in Grand Central outside when Trivium were playing the Ritz, and I was having a pint by myself, and I was like, "Boy, yeah, that's Colin Richardson and his assistant. I can't remember his name." So I literally went up and went, "Oh wow, thanks for all the great work," and they were like, "Thanks," and then just this horrible, awkward silence, and I just sort of walked
oh,
back to the table. No, they were nice, they were
yeah,
polite,
but it's that fanboy moment where you go up to them, say
just
something
thinking they're
nice,
gonna
and
be
you're
like,
like,
"Oh, I've been waiting all my life to hear that. Come and have a Jaeger bomb with us," and it just doesn't happen, does it? So yeah, but they're very
but
nice. They're
oh
very nice.
yeah, the thing is, I'm sure they get like guys like that get that quite often. For you, like, yeah, I got the comfort. Like, shit, I haven't got anything else with that. I've done that with Ola. I've done that with Ola England before. And I just went up to him like, "Oh, dude, I bought a Helix because of your review." And then I left. I'm like, "What a fucking prick I am." He must have thought, "What a dickhead." But
Yeah,
you don't think of what you can say next. You're like, you don't think they're really going to talk back to you. It's like, oh fuck, he's also saying hello. He's also a person. What the fuck? Ah,
yeah, he's a weird one, isn't it? So yeah, I've not had too many hero meeting moments though, to be fair. So fortunately, I've not put my foot in it too much. But yeah, there we go.
brilliant. I do actually have two questions from the audience so far. You're the first one that's happened to, so that's actually quite nice. It's quite nice
Oh,
seeing
also
people.
worrying. So
No, they're good.
all right.
What are your what do you think about live stream gigs?
Uh, yeah, all right. They don't replace the real thing, but I thoroughly enjoyed that Silosis and Trivium one. I think we were allowed. I did go round to a friend's house to watch it. I think we were allowed to at that point. I'm not sure. They're not going to find me now, are they? But yeah, it was nice to be able to just walk to a fridge and get a decent beer and watch a gig and use a toilet that didn't hazard breaking your neck slipping up on someone else's piss. But it's good, and it's also weirdly as when I was a kid, I used to love getting like bootlegs of live bands and stuff like Deftones lives and Soulfly, and like really, really buzzing off the recorded live music. So if anything, it's good to have the bands playing it well, and obviously only the bands that can really pull it off
Oh
can
yeah,
do it. So you got like Silosis, Bleed from Within, another brilliant album this year. Trivium. So they're all bands that can really, really play their instruments, so they
oh
can
yeah.
obviously do it. Where so it's good. And then also, I suppose with Silosis again, you can got a recording of what song was it off the album with Jamie sings. So at least you've got Josh singing his vocals on it instead. So yeah, they're all right. I reckon they'll stick around, to be honest, because surely
Yeah.
it's another way of bands making money and putting it like that. Even when gigs come back, I think it'll just be something new. Stick around. It'd be good to
Yeah.
somehow get some way of like the more local underground bands to be able to do it, but I suppose that takes someone to put their hand in the pocket and.
Yeah, it's more camera equipment than anything. I think streaming, you can't go past 1080 anyway. So most internet providers are able to do that. I think it's mainly just cameras and computers. I think that's the biggest problem. I personally have been looking into being able to hold like small like gigs because I thought no one's really doing it. Not out on like our level sort of thing. You've got some people doing it, but it's mainly venues.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it's just a whole thing that I've got in my head. It's just all money. It's all expensive and just elaborate. So, but yeah, no, I personally quite like stream gigs. I have no problem with them. I think they're pretty cool. It doesn't replace the real thing, but then again, you've got pros and cons with either. While yeah, the atmosphere at a live gig, you can't replace that. The thing that can be replaced is the really the sweaty guy who's not washed in 4 days with greasy hair, stinks of piss and shit, trying
Mate,
to ram into you.
I'm 5'6" or 5'7". I can never remember. So, and I always get the fucking tallest guy in the fucking venue stood right in front of me. So it's also why I like the Apollo in Manchester, because it's got a sloped floor. So therefore, you can see where sometimes there's a lot of people at gigs that are taller than me. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah, I get you. I'm 1 meter 79. I'm European, so that I use meters. I don't know how to do feet, but yeah. No, in general, they're fantastic. Follow up question to that: what do you think of what does he? What do you think about what Matt Heffy or Heafy? Is it Heffy or Heafy?
I say Heafy, but I'm not sure. Like Josh Homme, is that Josh Homme or Josh Homme? Because I always feel it sounds weird when people say Homme.
Yeah, Homie sounds odd. That sounds like a condiment.
Yeah, but
Can
so
you get?
I don't know. I say Heafy, but maybe when I have that awkward moment of meeting him, that can be my follow-up question from going, "Oh, thanks for all the riffs, Matt." And then, how do you pronounce your surname?
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. What do you think about Trivium? What Matt Heffy and Trivium have been doing for the music scene during the pandemic?
Well, no matter how many times I've mentioned Silosis in this chat now, but I did think they gave Silosis a proper good platform for doing that little support slot on that live stream thing because of Matt. Obviously, he's constantly putting out albums he's checked out in on Facebook and stuff, and you can tell he's a proper fan. Like he proper digs in, and like it's annoying when you see an album cover and you don't know what it is because of he's like a big fan of like Fit for Autopsy, which I'm a big fan of, and then but a lot of British bands as well, like Conjurer. He's always giving them a big shout out. Silosis.
Oh yeah, big time.
So I know he likes a lot of the music I like. So when you see these little thumbnails and then you can't make out the word of the band because it's some logo, that frustrates me. So it's good when he tags them. So, but yeah, you forget how big Trivium are sometimes. That might sound weird.
No, like Matt Heffy's on. Like Matt's on Twitch a lot, and I think like every other day he does like a giveaway for like Asus laptops and shit, and they're like $2,000 gaming laptops that people can just win during the streams. It's like, this is insane.
Yeah, he's pretty much mastered it, hasn't he? Because I think even was it him that was saying it, or was it Josh that they got in touch so they could work out how to do because he's got some mad setup to get his stream and his sound out at the same time. But yeah, like I said, you can just tell he's a proper fan of music, and like I can't what's other bands. But yeah, they're massive. Trivium, like they've got a worldwide reach, and I always think because obviously I like the heavier side of Trivium, so when you've got them doing that, then you take Silosis, that they sort of fit quite nicely together. They're not doing the same thing, but the heavier side of Trivium, and then
like you can have them next to each other and they complement each other rather than fighting against each other, or the other one, the smaller one, being just eclipsed, so to speak. Because I think you get that a lot with a lot of support slots where you've got this massive band and then we'll take these guys. Like, fan base ain't gonna like them, but they're an opener. Here you go. Mm-hmm. Here's an opener.
So yeah, but I suppose that's the bittersweet of that that live stream gig, because what a gig that would be, like Trivium playing, I don't know, the Manchester Academy with Silosis supporting. That'd be brilliant. So hopefully it'll happen next year, I suppose, when they all come about. But yeah, it'd be interesting to have a pint with Matt Heafy and pick his brains on many a thing, I think. So yeah.
To be honest, because I know all the guys from Trivium are on Twitch now. The guy that I've gravitated quite a lot towards from the group is Paolo, the bassist. I love his like no shit attitude, and it's great.
He's got a great haircut as well.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh hey,
yeah, Finzies, yay!
Brilliant.
But I was watching one of his streams because he does like little streams where he like showcases bands. Basically, you go onto Discord and then you show like names, so on and so forth, and you either listen to it on stream. And there was one guy who went, "Oh, this band's really shit," like proper being a dick. And he's like, "Get the fuck out!" Like, if you're not gonna behave, I am just gonna ban you from the channel. I'm seriously don't give a shit, because if you're going to berate people, you're not welcome here. And he handled it so well. It's like, be nice or fuck off.
Yep, fair play. Like his style.
But yeah, no, there's so many musicians that have popped up on Twitch. It's kind of funny because it just makes them so much more approachable in some degree. Like, I found Mark from Chimera is on there. I think Jonathan Davis is on Twitch now.
Really?
Yeah, you've got Jonathan Davis. I found... It's not like I'm going out of my way finding them. They just get suggested. I'm like, oh, I like that musician. I like that. The guys from Tesseract, I found. Christina Scarbia from Lacuna Coil. She does a lot of gaming, which is actually interesting.
Isn't that where Twitch came from? Like, it was a gaming thing, or that's what it sort of got adopted by the gaming community?
Yeah, it was mainly gaming, but then I think it's sort of derived into different things over the last few years. Like, I think Matt Heffy was part of a big change there, because I think Twitch got too much of a rap of it's only for esports or gamers, Mountain Dew, Doritos, that argument. Mm-hmm. But what happened was he got introduced to the guys from Twitch at a gig apparently, and they said to him, he said like, "Oh yeah, I do a bit of gaming on Twitch, but I get like 15 views. What am I doing wrong exactly?" And so they talked to him. It's like, "Okay, what do you do on it?" He's like, "Oh, I do gaming." He's like, "Okay, can't you do this and this throughout these amount of hours?" He goes, "Nah, I need to practice guitar like a certain like 4 hours a day or something, like guitar and vocals, or like a certain amount. Like he has to do his regiment." They said, "Why don't you stream that?" He goes, "I don't think people are interested in that." Because no, they definitely would be. Like, okay, this is what you need to do. And essentially he's gone on to the forefront of essentially what he does is, I mean, if you haven't seen any of his streams, he does a lot of, like, he just goes through songs.
Yeah,
like he'll just practice.
It's interesting. He just does it that much. If anything, it's a bit overbearing sometimes, because like I don't think I'd probably use up half my life if I watched everything he put out on Twitch.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I've seen a few things like, especially when it's like gear rundowns, because he went through all his amps and he's got this weird setup anyway. He's got like one speaker with two SM57s on it, so it sounds like it's what's it called? I can't remember. It's literally just like a box with one Celestian speaker in it, and then that comes out of his amp. So he's got like real guitar tones coming through, and it's like a fake stereo thing. And I think he got Mark Lewis, that producer, to help him set up all his rig and everything. And yeah, basically, I'd give my left leg to have half the pedals and guitar amps he's got on his little man
He's
cave.
got so many Messer amplifiers, it's insane. I think for what the Dead Men say, they used a Messer Boogie Triple X, I think, something like that. I remember seeing him on some kind of what was it? One of Ola England's videos, because I think he just randomly called him midstream. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, what amp did you use? I was like, oh, hi Ola. Yeah, this is what I've used. It's like,
Yeah, I don't think it was a Triple X. I've got one of them, and it's just sat in my garage, not doing anything. What was it? It was one of Corey's amps, but they literally just took one amp, I think, and then just ran with that. And the guitar tone on that album's fucking brilliant. But then Josh Wilbur, who mixed and produced it, he's got to be the best producer along with Will Putney maybe at the moment, I reckon. Fucking insane, especially that snare sound. Oof.
I think it depends what you like in the production. Like one personally, one of my all-time favourites is Ulrich Wild, who worked on Static X and Def Clock. So it's like I just simply love the way he produces. It's just like the sound that comes out. So it has all the elements that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Sneap it's Andy Sneap. You can't go wrong with Andy Sneap.
Well, yeah, because I think because he basically, I mean, he's done a lot, hasn't he? But I was listening to the More Things Change by Machine Head last week, and how old's that now? It must be like 97 or 98. And that album, the songs aren't quite as good as Burn My Eyes, but sonically it sounds absolutely fucking immense. And I think that was like Andy Sneap's little like breakthrough.
What record again?
Album. More Things Change. Sounds fucking amazing. So I think he was, I don't know if he took over or he was the assistant to Colin Richardson or something. My geek knowledge is failing me now. But yeah.
You were right, 97.
Oh, there we go. So what's that? Fucking
23 years ago.
Oh,
almost 24 because it came out in March.
So yeah, but that sounds fresh as anything. So still to this day. So yeah, that's Andy Sneap's top-notch abilities for you.
Andy Sneap is just a legend. I don't think there's anything that he can really do wrong in regards of recording. I think he's just, yeah, he's generally just the nuts. Also,
yeah, well, I think everyone just he sort of set standard, and the whole sort of, I don't know, quad tracking guitars, distorted bass, few cheeky. We did that whole Andy Sneap forum that people like all of England all talk about, that they picked up their tips from back in the day and stuff. So yeah, everyone's just trying to get the stuff to sound as good as him, basically, I suppose.
There's a particular technique that you can do with a multi-pass compressor. Yeah, the one with the bass where you just compress the actual low end, so it's like you control the low end rather than it fluttering around.
Yeah, it works a treat. Yeah. So, but it's like that. I'd never fucking think of coming up with that. So I feel that's the difference. You can pick up all these tricks and tips, but it's those innovators that actually come up with it from, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah. But it's the people that experiment and try different things. They're the ones that bring out quality records and then revolutionise the way of doing this.
Yeah,
I think that's
making loads of stuff off Nail the Mix. And, yeah.
Mm. Also, so just as a middle point, we want to thank the podcast partner and to the Twitch channel, Drink Rave. It's if you ever seen the Sneak adverts with the little rabbit on, it's basically like that. It's powdered it's basically powdered energy drink, but with a lot, like, zero sugar, and it's not as fizzy. It doesn't give you heartburn the same way as Monster does or any of the other energy drinks. I'm going to get sued. Fuck, I'm not doing this right at all. Probably not. No, you don't get heartburn from Monster unless you drink a shit ton of it, but they tell you not to do that. I think I'm covered now. But anyway, you can get 10% off Rafe with the code that you can see in the chat, which is DMESMA666. You just give it in right at the payment, right when you're about to pay it, and you get 10% off each and every time. Yeah, so let's go back to the podcast before I get sued by all the bigger companies and run down. I'll get it right at some point. I might just need to create like a little cards for myself, like, yeah, this is great. But yes, because I'm looking at the artwork, because I've got everything in front of me here. I do really like the artwork. There's a little bit of kill switch engaged that I can see here, like little elements, like with the colours and just some of the designs. Did you do the artwork?
Yeah, I've done all the artwork for us. It was another reason why I wanted to get into a metal band, just start doing more fun metal inspired stuff. So when I joined the band, I was like, do you have anyone that does stuff? No. Brilliant. So and then it stemmed on quite nicely. I've done quite a lot of stuff for a load of local bands and bands around the country and stuff. It's good fun, but I try and keep it to like just stuff I enjoy doing, really. So
yeah, one thing I've noticed you always have, like, except for Omen, you have a very circular, like, middle point, if that makes sense. Like, you have, like, I'm looking at the first release, which is Ascension. So behind the woman, you've got like a circle. Then you've got Betrayer, where you've got like a circle where you've got like flames and a sun in it. Then when you go to Scarbearer, it's not quite as obvious, but I can see like the trees are bent into almost like a circular shape in the background, but there isn't a circular shape, but it still goes into that. While dead behind the eyes, you've got circle behind the one with her eyes. Clearly, she's got an eye bleeding condition instead of nose bleeding. It's very rare, but it does happen. Omen doesn't have it except for the moon in the background, and then you've got Aftermath. We've got the three guys from Lord of the Rings clearly on the wrong set, and you've got the circle with the forest and the moon behind it. It's just something that I picked up. Is that something that you do on purpose, or is that almost like almost like an artistic signature?
No, it just means that I need to get a bit more imaginative with my layouts, I think, to be honest. No, it's I actually find it easier to design a t-shirt than a cover, because a t-shirt's, more of a oblong rectangle shape, where I feel like, I don't know, it just warps my head a bit trying to get everything into a square. Don't know why, just do. So,
I really hope you don't feel like I'm calling you out on this. It's just something I've observed. I'm like, there's a lot of circles.
It's like the compliment thing about, your band sounds like this. It's like I never noticed it myself. I did consciously do it on the Aftermath t-shirt, because I saw a Power Trip t-shirt that was framed in a circle, and I was like, I like that. So I'm gonna basically rip that right off and then put this in basically instead. So yeah, but there's always a woman in it as well. I thought that's where you were going. I was like, he's noticed. But
I mean, I can't quite. I find the hooded people are quite gender neutral. I think the hoods don't really show off enough of their physical assets. Yeah, so
good point. Yeah, it could be, like I said. I like the Lord of the Rings reference.
Just having a bit of fun there. But I will say there's not enough boob. There needs to be more boob in the next cover. Just because, who doesn't like boobs? Everyone likes boobs. But one thing that I did notice with Betrayer, don't feel like I'm tearing you apart at all. It's just an observation that I'm actually, because it's a subconscious thing. Like artists like to do things. It's like it's a whole subconscious. Like, oh, I'm gonna go do this now, and you can't. Like you know when you've seen something maybe 10, 20 years ago, and you're like, this is cool, and then like later on you try and do something, think, I don't think this exists. I'm just gonna go do it,
Right, okay.
and like, oh wait, yeah, I see that now. Because with Betrayer, it does remind me a lot of what was that? I think her Ghost in the Fog by Cradle of Filth. It reminds me of one of the Cradle of Filth covers. Not
Right, I
a
don't
lot.
know
Like
the
it's the
cover.
pose that the lady has. That's the main
I've
thing,
seen
really.
the video God 100 times on MTV2, but yeah, I don't know. I'll check the cover. Yeah, maybe I subconsciously ripped it off. I'm more bothered about the dodgy anatomy drawing on that picture, but I won't get into it. I think it's all a bit out of proportion, but never mind.
I think it looks all right. I mean, again, like you're an artist. You're the one that created the art, so you're gonna be the harshest reviewer of it all because you're just like, I don't like it. It's like it's fine, dudes. No, I don't like it. It needs to be perfect. It needs to be like, oh, there's that little curve that's not quite right.
Yeah, my darling wife will tell you about that side of my personality. So yeah, pretty much bang on there. But yeah, it's good stuff. I find it harder doing sometimes the artwork for us than anyone else because of if I'm doing it for another band, they might be like, we've got this really clear idea. We want, I don't know, something technically looking and blah, blah, blah. And they can just jump in and do it. But with us, even though I write all the lyrics and stuff, sometimes it's like, trying to do it and not just necessarily go for the first obvious thing. It can be a bit tricky. Because like for Aftermath,
Yeah.
so there's someone else we had like when I do the demos between the guys, I hate having those blank musical notes in iTunes when you unload those. So I'll just do quick crappy covers, and it was like a blown up city, and Arun was like, "That's perfect," and I was just like, "No, it's too obvious, that mate. We need 3 gender neutral people that have just chucked someone down a well in a forest instead. That's what we need." And there we go.
I mean, it looks great. To be honest, the artwork, all in itself, looks absolutely fantastic. So,
Thanks, mate. That's very nice.
That's something I will highly compliment because I think a lot of bands don't do that very well. Not that they don't do it very well. It's
feel free to send them my way, mate. I've got reasonable rates, and if you're not happy to help out.
But where can they find you? Where do they find such reasonable rates?
Oh, there we go. What a lovely, smooth intersection. So yeah, my arty page on Facebook's called Pedley Art. So check it out on Instagram, Facebook. And yeah, there's a lot of my stuff up on there. You can see what I've done. It's all of a similar ilk. Try and just do this, my sort of style, illustration sort of stuff. Basically just trying to rip off Mike Mignola and add my own spin to it badly. But yeah, and it saves us a fucking ton of money because we don't have to pay anyone to do it, which is nice.
Yeah. No, that's always handy when you can do things yourself.
Yeah, well, most of it is really for us, especially at this point, because we'll track everything ourselves. We started doing, on the Scarbear EP, we did all the drums on a MIDI kit as well. So, and then I mix all the stuff. And we produce it between ourselves, and then we started doing drums at either our practice studio or called Silver Lining, or there's a great recording studio in Manchester called Noise Boy. So then we get a bit of help doing the drums, but after that, it's all on us, just mixing and or we do have a guy called Lee that masters it. Can't forget him.
Oh yeah, but that I find quite interesting actually because we've done that quite recently because the first EP. I mixed and mastered it. Yeah, it's all right. It gets what it needs to, but
yeah,
some of the more recent stuff that we've done now, ready to be released one day. Yeah, but we got it mastered by someone else, and to be honest, it's just getting that second ear. It's just getting that extra pair of ears that does wonders. It really, really does.
No, I think that's anything. Well, Lee's always very complimentary and easy to work with us. But I don't know. He always adds this extra, 10, 15% I don't, to our mixes and just seems to just get it all gelled together and give a bit more power. But I always presumed he did a shit ton of EQ and stuff, and he said he doesn't. So I don't know. It's just good to pass it on to someone else and get that second opinion. Yeah. And he's obviously pointed things out in the past, when there's been dodgy frequencies poking through or whatever. So just get someone else to sign it off. I think it's a very, very good way of doing things. If you can do your own mixing and stuff, I just enjoy it. It's just good fun. But if you can get to where you want to get to without completely driving yourself insane, and then have someone else just to give it the finishing touch, it's best of both worlds, I think, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I commend you for being able to do the artwork, doing the mixing, doing your parts on the recordings. So that's a lot. I tried doing all of that, and I will say that drove me absolutely insane. I mean, I'm nowhere near a talented visual artist as yourself. I'm shit at visual art, so yeah. So, but rather than just berate myself, no, it is a lot. Being able to do all that is fantastic, and big hats off to you.
Well, thanks, cheers, mate. But like I said, wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it, and there's a lot of countless hours spent on YouTube looking at tips and tricks and stuff like that. But it's a hobby, innit? At the end of the day, it's good fun. And the drawing side of things, I've just always drawn and doodled since I was a kid. So it's just just enjoy it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. So
exactly, and that's the best part, that you actually do enjoy doing it, and don't just drive yourself completely insane with it. Which is so easy to do, and I think a lot of people do end up doing that. But no, you're a very talented bloke anyway, so that's handy. That always helps.
Making me blush now.
Oh.
But I think, having said that, I think when we come to we're writing for an album now, I think we'll probably just plow on and do an album, because we've got a bit of an idea in our heads. But so say if you're getting up to 8, 9, 10, 11 songs or whatever, I've got a feeling it might be an idea to find the funds and pass that on to someone else. And I feel that's partly for the insane factor. But if me and the lads are putting all this time and effort into recording the album, I'd want it to sound as good as possible. And even though I enjoy doing this and it's 2 songs here, a song there, it might just be better to give it to someone else. We can get everything tracked and save the money on that side of things, and then pass it to someone else and get that second ear from that point of view. I'm obviously not going to give it to someone that's only ever mixed rap music or
that could be interesting, but
possibly, yeah. We'll save that for the B-sides maybe. So yeah, it might be a bit different when it comes to the album. But yeah, to be honest, it could be something as annoying as simple as money that dictates what we do.
I mean, when you get down to it as well, when you get someone else to mix it and master it, the amount of time you're saving, the amount of time that you can then spend doing other things. That's the way I see it, at least. It's essentially a case of it'll probably be faster if it's done by someone who does it all the time. What might be a week's job for yourself, that person might just smash that out in 3 hours.
Yeah, there's every chance that it could be quicker and better and refreshing. So yeah, I don't know. We've got a couple of songs. We've tracked drums for a couple of songs, so I'm toying with the idea to maybe, I don't know, it sounds a bit horrible, this, to the people that don't even know what I'm talking about, experiment it, you could just pay someone to mix one song and that's their rate, and then we get it back. If we like it, great. If we don't,
that's a good way of doing it, though, to be honest. Because then, I mean, that gives you it gives them the incentive to work with you. And as well, you get to hear what it sounds like if you like it or not. If you do like it, you can always come back.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, obviously we'd pay them. I feel like that's something as well. I mean, I've done a lot of free work and favours and stuff on the artwork side of things. Got ourselves a few gigs for doing a poster and whatnot. But I do think there's something, even between friends, I think there's something if you're going to, help us out. I mean, obviously there's mates rates, but, there's £100 for, a couple of hours in your studio, thank you, and you've got that money. And if you come and ask me for some artwork or something, like I said, I do it as a favour. So sometimes, you'll I think you'll do it better rather than just working for free as well, because you just feel like, oh, why did I say I do this?
It's the incentive.
Time,
it's an incentive, and it incorporates the time that you put in. It shows that that person values your time.
Yeah, definitely. So, be interesting to see. Yeah, again, bloody COVID, we've got drums tracked, 2 songs, but we can't get to the point of tracking the guitars yet. And hopefully, to get a good point of it is, we might even have a new bass player ready to record on these 2 other songs. Yes. So we'll have to see. It'll be good.
It'll be very good. No, it'll be fantastic. Again, as I said, the stuff you guys have been chucking out is quality. It's good. It's awesome.
No, cheers, man. Thank you.
So, everything goes with it. And to be honest, I will also say, because no one else can see it, and I'm not going to show it around, just the EPK stuff, all the press stuff, looks absolutely fucking fantastic. It's probably one of the best ones I've actually had as well. So it's impressive. It's nice. It gets everything across that needs to, and it's just this is good. I like it. It's not too much. It's not too little. It's not so on and so forth. So I think that this is something that most people don't mention. It's the whole press side of it, because I don't like the press. I don't like doing press. No one does. Still got to do it. So no, but again, everything just looks awesome, and I'm genuinely looking forward to what it is you guys are going to come out with next, really, because all the bands that you guys are influenced by, most of them are some of my favourites. With Sepultura, Chaos AD is such a great record in itself, because it's so raw, and there's some bits that you could, in some ways, you could say it sounds really shitty, but it doesn't. It's just really raw and just blap 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 blap. It's just they're the drums. They're not really bassy. They're not really produced. They're just in your face. It's just punk.
I love the bass sound on that record, because you can tell it's just clanging away in the background. And also, it's one of my favourite covers of all time. That album. And my mate at school always used to think, "Oh shit, that pedally. Why are you looking at that?" I'm like, "It's awesome, man." I don't even know what it is. Just that. I've got it there actually. That guy in being liquefied in some sort of machine. Brilliant. All you need.
Yeah, sorry, just something unplugged for a moment there. That was worrying. But yeah, no, that's the thing. A lot of these records are just incredible. Really, I think I do own that on vinyl. I think it's the first vinyl record that I bought. But what was I going? There was something I was going to mention. I had a list of questions. Now my laptop's decided to die on me because essentially the battery doesn't work, so it just turned off.
No.
Because I accidentally unplugged it. I'm fuck. But with Beyond Salvation. Shit, I'm drawing a blank now. Sorry. This happens to me at least once every podcast. It's great. It does make me look very good in front of my guests. But yeah, one thing I did find quite interesting about you guys is as well, you guys playing standard. You didn't go for the whole, I need to play lower because it makes me sound heavy. I mean, I'm guilty of that because I play a 7-string in B standard, so it's it's got to be, I sound great. It's fantastic.
I love all the dropped tune stuff, but it was a bit of a happy coincidence. I mean, when I joined, Martin was already playing in standard. I was already doing guitar lessons in standard tuning, and then it kind of stuck. And then when we were trying to convince Arun to join the band, we got in touch with him 3.5 years ago. I said, how do you want to join? And he was just like, I can't really at the moment, different priorities. And then we met him at a gig, and we were like, oh man, you could have been playing standard tune thrash metal like Slayer and Sylosis. And he was like, oh, that's what I want to do. So we just kept to it. I don't know. We've not even really toyed around with other tunings. It's just I don't know, let the riffs bring the heavy rather than
exactly.
the tunes, I suppose. But yeah, I it's happened maybe once or twice that people have asked us, like, oh, what do you tune to at gigs? And it's a bit of a cheap thrill saying we're just playing standard tuning when people are saying we're really heavy and stuff. So, but there's obviously way heavier bands around than us. But yeah, and it's also dead easy to buy a set of strings. You can get them from any guitar shop. You don't have to buy some weird custom set for an extra tenner. So that helps as well. Money, once again.
That's true, but if you get Elixir strings, sponsor me. Sponsor me, Elixir. I need those strings. I can't eat noodles for the rest of my life. But they do last forever, to be perfectly honest. I think I've got
strings a lot. I do find they last a little bit longer than the early ball ones I was using for a while. So
Ernie balls though, they do like to snap a lot.
Especially my sweaty wrists and bad picking technique. I think I must just dig. I'm not digging hard. I'm not trying to make out like I'm some riff master. Just literally must just constantly attack the string with the edge of my pick because they fucking go all the time. It just kills the flow. Very annoying.
It says he's not a guitar master. Picks up guitar, first thing he plays, Yngwie Malmsteen. Sorted.
Definitely not.
There was an interview that I was actually reading this morning, or at some point today. It was probably morning. I have no idea. With Wolfgang Van Halen, Eddie's son, and he was saying how his dad was an awful teacher for him because he's like, Dad, how do I play this? And he's just going, being Eddie Van Halen, goes, play this. I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to play this though. Like, no, just play this. Like, Dad, I don't know how to fucking play this. I'm not Eddie Van Halen, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting guitar teacher, wouldn't it? Yeah, you'd explain about that, but yeah.
There was a story I heard before of Dweezil Zappa, Frank Zappa's son. Apparently, he got lessons from Eddie Van Halen years, like when he was a kid. And I think, how did the story go? It was something along the lines of Dweezil is he's picking up the phone. Goes, yeah, Frank Zappa's house. Goes, oh hi, this is Eddie Van Halen. This is like in the early mid-80s, I think, where Van Halen is like the biggest thing in the world. Like Van Halen is like the cool of the cool sort of thing. And he's like, yeah, bullshit. Puts it down. Doorbell rings. Eddie Van Halen's at the door, and Dweezil opens. Like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, it's Frank in. What? You want to see my dad? It's just like it's bizarre. Like the entire story is bizarre, but I believe it's simply because Dweezil is a stupidly good guitarist. Like he is so underrated. As a guitarist, the guy is so heavily underrated.
Can't say I can. Yeah, pass comment. I'm sure he's.
It's one that doesn't come to most people's minds. He does mainly Frank Zappa stuff, which is a lot of like improv. But some of the stuff that he does improv is just ridiculous. Like, how are you playing this? So I think what's his name? Brendan Small, who does Def Clock. He's quite a guitarist as well. Like he does a lot of sweep picking and things. It's just like Shreddy McShreddington. And
yeah, I saw a couple of documentaries on him recording some of that Def Clock stuff. It was pretty interesting.
And he put down, he was talking about like, oh yeah, I was watching loads of like Dweezil stuff because of a lot of the economical picking. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not gonna be that good. I'm just gonna be very entertaining instead.
Huh.
That's the thing. It's interesting when you see like how different all these guitarists are when you see them. Like you've got Devin Townsend and Steve Vai. I think they're quite very different guitarists from each other.
Oh yeah, definitely. But then again, going back to Sepultura, I just quite like the fact that Max only had 4 strings on his guitar, and that was enough. So.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that, to be honest. But to
be
honest,
that's fucking ace. So yeah, it's just like fuck it. I'm only playing down here on these low strings and chuck you some riffs like Territory and Refuse Resist and Roots or whatever and Arise, and then yeah, that's all you need. So yeah, I think that's the type of stuff that's killer. That isn't it?
Like Max Cavalera's just awesome. I love Max Cavalera. I've seen him play with Soulfly last year. And he's like a big kid still. He just loves it. It's just the pure joy
Oh,
he
yeah,
has in playing music. It's just so refreshing and nice.
No, you can tell he's still a big fan. Definitely, I think I've seen Soulfly a couple of times. Yeah, fully. Yeah, but yeah, I think they were a big gateway band for me actually. Like, I think I must have found Soulfly off the back of Deftones, and then obviously from Soulfly into Sepultura, and then you just keep going down the rabbit hole, don't you? So yeah.
Yeah, so who was like the first... who would you say was like the first metal bands that you've started listening to, which then brought you to listen to everything else?
Definitely Korn and Deftones, like Follow the Leader, Around the Fur era.
Good records, very good records.
And then after that, probably pretty much what I said, really. Like Soulfly and onto Sepultura, Pantera. And then a lot of my friends at school, because obviously a lot of new metal was massive, all into that. But I found myself gravitating towards the sort of the heavier stuff. And then even bands like Raging Speed on. I remember when that Thumper tune came out, I just thought that was great, just how filthy and noisy it all sounded, and stemming onto there. So yeah, and I suppose after that it all goes on to all like the new wave of American metal with Killswitch Engage and Lamb of God and Trivium and all that. Yeah, the rest is history, as they say, my friend.
Exactly. No, that's cool. I mean, with what was you mentioned one of the bands? I forgot now. But yeah, no, it's interesting to see how metal has sort of evolved, and it's not changed that much over its longevity. It's become more complicated, I'd say, but it hasn't changed that fundamentally much as it did from the start, if that makes sense. Like, it's just faster and heavier. It's always had
Well,
the...
it's like drums, guitars, riffs, add a little bit of darkness to it, and then that's kind of got to be a bit evil sounding, hasn't it? And then
yeah.
I think people just take it from there. So yeah, I think if you like, obviously, you like a certain few bands, you're gonna like a lot of the same sort of stuff. But actually, then again, I do find it quite amusing how you can meet a metalhead and then just completely disagree on so much stuff, because they'll be like, I can't stand Metallica, they sold out, so I'm never listening to them again, or blah, blah, blah. But basically going back to all that sort of negative stuff, but it is amusing that you can meet someone and then just not agree on any band, basically, but still be a true
I have a very bizarre stance when it comes to Metallica. I like Metallica a lot, and they're very much my gateway band. But I will defend Saint Anger as much as I can, because I enjoyed it
when it came out. That's all I can say. So I can't say I've revisited much over the years, but I did enjoy it when it came out. And Frantic's a proper riff, so there's something in it.
It's a tune. I mean, if you removed all the other songs, just had Frantic, that's fine. They've done what they needed to do. It's a great song. But I think generally all Metallica records are good. I even enjoy Lulu, which is very niche and avant-garde. I get what they were trying to do after years of being like, it's not great. It's what it is.
I think I don't really gave it the time of day. I think we could listen, and then I was just like, I don't want to listen to this. It might just put me off. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of most of their stuff. Well, I really like Load and the Black Album. I found them off the Black Album, I think. So yeah, really like the last album they did as well. But I don't think anything beats Master of Puppets or Injustice for All. They're the two best for me.
I think the Jason Newsted years were some Oh, actually, no, Jason. He was on And Justice for All, but yeah, we all know about that.
We all know what we're talking about then, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Jason was fantastic for the band. But so I do have an odd question here. Well, it's not an odd question. It's if you had to pick one record that you had to listen to for the rest of your life, and you couldn't listen to another record at all, what record would it be?
Probably The Blackening by Machine Head.
That is a solid album, to be fair. Like, no matter what
Listened to
anyone
it a lot
thinks
the
of
last
it,
couple of weeks.
it's just such a
No, it's fucking brilliant. I'd
perfect
take
album.
it over My Eyes. So.
I think that's it's kind of the right kind of being catapulted, if that makes sense. Like, you know, you get certain records that some bands make, and you're like, oh, really? Not that record of all things? And then you have certain other records that just catapult you to life.
Sorry, mate.
No, it's like there's certain records that you think, oh, why does that catapult them, but not this record? Like, where you think it's a better record, so to speak. But you know, The Blackening, I think. I don't like saying that a band has peaked, but I don't think Machine Head are gonna ever get what they did for The Blackening. I think that's a once in a lifetime thing.
Well, they should probably consider themselves lucky because they've had it with. I'd say they could, you know, did it with Burn My Eyes, and then you got Blackening 20 years later or whatever. But like I said, I'd take The Blackening over Burn My Eyes if I had to pick. I obviously enjoy both albums a lot, so yeah, it's all good. But I don't know how to say this without being really rude, but I'm going to have to jib off to put my little boy to bed.
I do apologise for that.
Right. So, yeah. Sorry for sounding really...
No, that's perfectly fine, mate. No, that's no issue at all. I do apologise. I've been keeping you for a while, but yeah, in this regard,
no, it's been fully enjoyable. I just sort of heard him kicking. I think he's playing Mario World with my wife, and she's probably going to end up throttling him in it, as that game can be incredibly frustrating.
Oh, I'm well aware.
So, yeah,
but yeah, so with that, no, thank you so much for coming on. Do come back if you did enjoy it, of course. If you didn't feel like I'm berating your art, and as well, no, thank you so much for coming on. It is a great interview, and you've actually, we've had the most engagement from the chat thus far. I've not been doing the Twitch podcast thing that long, so progress. But yes,
cool,
we've had.
Well, thank you very, very much for having us, mate. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, it's good to. It's just good to have a chat with someone about heavy metal and riffs, and appreciate your kind words and the time to chat with us. And hopefully we'll speak again soon when we're sorting that gig out in Essex and Manchester, won't we?
Yeah, all those gigs, all those fantastic. Exactly, mate. So yes, we've had Jon from Beyond Salvation. And yeah, check out their latest release, Aftermath, which is available in all available streaming services, including Bandcamp and everything else. So you can support the band with either buying their music or their merch. So thank you everyone for coming into the Mesmerise podcast. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting the bands that come on. And don't forget to drink Wraith with the code DMESMA666 to get your 10% off. So thank you very much, and we are going to call it a night. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Thank you. Cheers. Take care.